You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Shannon Terry, founder, CEO of On3 Sports, good enough to join us here for a couple of minutes. Shannon, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
I mean, it is our pleasure. I want to start, if I could, with how On3 started the process, or has gone about developing that NIL valuation.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it. We've been working on it for about a year and a half, and I can give you a lot of details about it. But we're based in Nashville, Tennessee. There's just so many influencers here and celebrity types. And so when we started building this valuation, the first kind of foundation layer we did is we went out and we valued basically what a like, a follow, and an engagement was worth for all the social platforms. And so that we started when we launched the formula, about a year ago. It was heavily social based, but since that initial launch, we've updated the formula many times. And now it includes a lot of different data points all around. We call it our Madden rating of PI. P for performance, I for influence, and E for exposure. And I can talk more about that, but we're real excited about what we're doing, and we think it's really accurate. Having a good idea of what the overall size of the market is.
What has been the general market reaction to your valuation?
I mean, the general market is that the athletes are using it, the collectives are using it, the coaches are using it, and when a big part of it, of the exposure part of it, has to do with we have a roster management algorithm where we basically bake in, what we think the collectives for each of the Power Fives are worth, or they've collected. We've got so many boots on the street. We have good intel on what that is, and when they see the numbers that we generate. They say, hey, that's pretty dead on. And so I think it's only something that's going to get better, and I think it's going to set the market. I think it's going to set the projected annual market or value for every athlete in high school and college sports.
It's pretty fascinating, Shannon, that you did take a stab at putting a monetary value to players. And I want to talk about Harold Perkins specifically in a second, but
Sure.
Have you gotten feedback from schools about that as well, with the reactions being made from schools, administrators, conferences?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken to everyone. Everyone wants to understand it. We've spoken with, all the different heads of the conferences, coaches, athletes. The first thing to understand is this. It is not what an athlete has collected in deals. It's their projected annual value. So over the course of the next 12 months, what we would project would be that athlete's share of the marketplace. Now, a lot of our partners, a lot of major media and people in the space have done research, a lot of agencies, and the NIL marketplace right now is somewhere around $500 to $700 million. We expect it, and it's expected to grow to over $4 billion over the next 4 to 5 years. And so, one of the check and balance on this is just extrapolating back from that overall market size, and applying it to the athletes, because obviously, the elite athletes, are the ones that are taking the market share of the dollars at this stage.
Shannon Terry's with us, founder, CEO of On3 Sports, on3.com. Of course, our guys here in the LSU market, guys like Shay and Billy do an awesome job. We always love having them on the show. Let's talk about Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
So I got the note about Perkins' NIL valuation doubling after the Bama game. How did you come to that number?
Well, his has a lot to do with the peak and, the performance aspect of it. We have a team of scouts that, as you know, we rank and rate high school athletes. We've done that for 26 years when we founded and ran Rivals and 24/7 Sports. We also do that, although it's hidden, we do that for college players as well. And so a big chunk of Harold's valuation increase, obviously, has come from his performance rating. We now, we have 32 5-stars in college. I think, I'm not looking at the formula right now, but I think our staff rates him number 11 out in college sports, and so that obviously commands a very high value. The second thing you need to think of is he's playing winning football on a team that's getting tremendous exposure right now in LSU. So he's also benefiting from the fact that LSU is in the national discussion. They're on TV, and he's obviously the storyline. So he has, he's got 24% increase in social followers over the past 2 weeks. He's just a perfect storm right now, and that's if you combine all the high school and college athletes, he's in our top 50 overall. And there's some big time players in that list.
In the NIL 100, I'm looking at it right here. He's number 47 in the NIL 100, and his college football rank is 25. Last week after the Bama game, he was 30. I'm trying to do this off the top, 34 or 37. So in 2 weeks, do you know off the top where he was prior?
I'm looking at the graph below on his page. So on October 11th, he was 363, and then on September 13th, he was 203.
Man.
But think about it. He is dominating college football right now on the biggest stage. And so, we know the size of the deals that the elite athletes, the Bryce Youngs, the Will Andersons, the C.J. Strouds are getting. And Harold's play, at a glory position, I don't even know what the heck position he plays, honestly. He goes and gets on every play, 4 sacks, the whole 9 yards. His sentiment, his search and social sentiment's through the roof. He has one of the most visible profiles in our database. Everyone wants to know who this young man is, and they're finding out. And brands are going to find out quickly as well.
Shannon, could you, and this is obviously very speculative, could you take a guess at what would happen if Harold continues on this trajectory over the next 2 games and then in the SEC championship game?
Well, just look at some of the, if you take some of these legacy outliers out, okay, take Bronny James, the Arch Mannings out of it, because their values are at a national level for different reasons than their social and in some cases their performance. I mean, Arch is obviously a high school player. Then some of your largest names are your big, huge, many million social followers. Your Mikey Williams, the YouTuber, Livy Dunn, etc. So if you take those outliers out of it, then you're looking at the high-profile quarterbacks like Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, those guys. Well, they're doing $2 and $3 million in deals this year. Okay, now we on our back end, this is the most important thing to note here. We take an athlete's value and we divide it into roster value and brand value. So think of it this way: Aaron Rodgers makes $25 million as a salaried contract quarterback, and he makes $100 million from his brand, doing national ads, whatever that mix is. We do the same. And so what happens is when some of these elite guys get on a national stage, they start getting national deals. And that's what you're going to see with Harold if he continues to play this well on that stage. And what you're looking at in that case is probably a $2 to $3 million, type valuation. So there's a lot of what ifs there. Can he sustain the level and the attention that he's received over the past few weeks? I don't know.
That is stunning. Shannon Terry is with us on Twitter at Shannon Terry, founder, CEO of On3 Sports, on3.com. If I could ask you, I'd also love to know about Kayshon Boutte and Jaden Daniels. Kayshon came into the season with tremendous hype. The on-field performance was slow to start. It's catching up. And then Jaden obviously has seen this sort of parabolic rise over the last month as well. What about those two guys?
Yeah, Boutte has stayed pretty steady despite the inconsistency, that he's had this season. And I think a lot of it had to do with probably where he was valued, in his team value. So I think if you look at his value of close to $900,000, $800,000, it's heavily based on his roster value. And if you lined up, and you tiered up all the roster on LSU, he'd be one of the top 2 or 3 kids. And I do not have the quarterback's value information from me, so I can't speak on that one. I apologize.
No, that's quite all right. It's fascinating because a lot of people ask the question, Shannon, about could potentially an NIL valuation lead to players deciding to come back to school for another year. Do you have? I'm sure you do, but do you have a thought on that?
Oh, 100%. If you're a fringe player, and and let's just say for example, you play a position where you're going to be a third, fourth rounder, and you can improve your stock. There's now going to be enough money to come back, and I think you're going to see a lot of that happen here over the next couple of years. You're going to see, transfer portal December 5th is going to be hell on wheels. I mean, we're never going to see anything like what's about to happen.
Wow.
College sports when this thing opens up.
He is Shannon Terry, founder CEO of On3, on3.com. Fascinating stuff there as it pertains to Harold Perkins' rise here over these last couple of weeks. You can follow him on Twitter at Shannon Terry. Get there, give him a follow. Shannon, we appreciate a couple of minutes, man. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks for having me on. Anytime, guys. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.